We're here today to talk about the hate crimes legislation and the watered down bill that was passed through the Senate last week. What are the deficiencies with this bill?
Well, and we had high hopes because the previous day the committee on a 9-to-1 vote had passed a very strong bill with enumerated classes that we think are of particular import because they are the classes that are our statistics show have the highest risk of being victims of hate crimes. And so the choice of the full Senate was then to strip any of the enumerated classes and just to identify that there are things called bias crimes. That's a disappointment insofar as we've always said we need those enumerated classes, and we need those enumerated classes because the courts have said essentially we need greater guidance from the legislature. In Georgia had a bill that looks similar to what they have in the Senate, had passed out of the Senate, and the Georgia Supreme Court said we can't enforce this bill. It is constitutionally too vague, and so they threw the bill out. In Utah, they have similar language. It's not the same, but in similar language, again, doesn't enumerate any classes. And in the 20 years I believe it's been in existence, it's never been used. So it's the sort of our call as a business coalition, as Eli Lilly and Company, and as a broader coalition of advocacy groups, community groups, and business groups. We need a bill that is clear with enumerated classes, and is clear that we take these kind of crimes seriously in our community.
Do you think that we can get where we need to get this year to get those enumerated classes added back in?
Well, I'm hopeful. We continue to, if you do what I do for a living, we're at the halfway point of the legislative session. We have a governor who's taken a very strong position on the issue, and we have legislators that are listening. We may not be there yet, but it's a process, and we are halfway through the process, and we are committed to getting this done and getting it done right. So I'm hopeful. But we'll see come the end of April.
Why is this, we've been here before trying to get this passed. Why is this important for our community, for the state?
Well, as you've heard and as others have pointed out, Indiana is one of 5 states that doesn't have a strong strong bias crimes law in the country. And that puts us in a category of states that essentially you don't want to be on. It's sort of a group of 5 that when people are evaluating sort of what categories you fit in, we're in a not good group of states with regards to that. And as a group of business interest, the CEOs who've signed the letter to the leadership there believe, one, Indiana needs to join the states of the other 45 states that have strong bias crimes law, but it's also a sending a message, and it's a message. We're like every other business. Eli Lilly and Company is like every other business. We're in competition for talent. And when we are interviewing, when we are recruiting people, if you're going to go to work at Lilly and you want to move up in your career, you're going to spend a period of time at our headquarters in the state of Indiana. And people have told us, have articulated to us, we're not comfortable going to a state that doesn't welcome everybody. And it isn't because they are in one of these particular classes, it's because this generation of employees, the talent that we're recruiting, feels particularly strongly that everyone needs to be welcome where they're going to reside.